What is up, everybody? It is time for MLB Live Before Lock, the final MLB Live Before Lock prior to the start of the football season. Still going to be having baseball shows. I know some people might be wondering, why was there no baseball strategy show this morning? I will tell you guys why. It's because Josh Engelman decided that it was time for him to go on vacation this week. Week one, he booked a vacation. So in the mornings, obviously, we're prioritizing doing football shows over baseball shows. So we still have Live Before Lock tonight, and we're still going to have Live Before Lock for baseball tomorrow, Friday, next week, basically until the baseball season ends. But there just won't be baseball strategy shows until Josh comes back from his vacation next week. So for tomorrow, what's the schedule going to look like on a day like tomorrow? There's going to be an NFL Showdown strategy show in the morning. Then there's going to be a Live Before Lock at night. It is Eric and Bellman on that. And then there's NFL Live Before Lock with myself and Laffy tomorrow night. So nice. That's what it's going to be looking like for the next few days. And then the baseball strategy shows will resume when Josh comes back, kind of depending on if people watch them. Like if people just stop watching baseball strategy shows after football starts and once Josh is back, maybe we'll just do Live Before Lock. So if you guys want to watch and want to see those shows, then just, keep watching them. But otherwise, it seems like I assume that everything's just going to be business as normal going forward once Josh gets back. But if you want to know why there's no baseball strategy shows, go send Josh an angry message on Twitter because he decided that this week was when he was going to take off for his vacation, and we have to prioritize the football. So what are we going to do about it? Anyways, you guys come in here, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We also have some football deals going on, which we'll be talking a little bit more about as we go. But Eric, how are you doing today?
Yeah, Josh would say this about me as well. Oh, they're not going to miss him, so it doesn't really matter. Nobody cares. Business as usual, as Greg said. No, we hope he has a lovely vacation. Let's see. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, all I do all summer long, other than 2 days last week, I went to Monterey, hit a golf ball around Pebble. But otherwise, I just sit on my computer and react to like Alicia Gray getting scratched or getting removed, like being out, like just in the WNBA streets, trying to snag Kalshi, trying to do whatever I can here and there, trying to make a buck in the world, Greg. So let's keep that rocking. It was kind of an up and down baseball morning. Got Manny Machado to go yard from a betting perspective, but how are your bets going so far today?
I don't even know because I have been in meetings all day today, same as yesterday. So I would have to pull up my picket to even see because I don't even remember what it is I bet this morning.
There you go.
I do believe I had the Orioles money line. And I think that was going well. Let's see. 7-5. I saw they were up 7-0 earlier. Other than that, I think more of my bets might be for tonight. Anyway, I don't really know. I'll have to check it as we go through here later. How about for yourself?
It was, as I said, up and down. It was nice to come back a little bit there. Day started off with a bang with a Lyles single. I've been dipping into the singles market quite a bit, mainly because, I love my wife, so I have to dip into the singles market doing something else. It's betting on baseball, but overall, I still feel good about some of the evening bets ready to rock for today.
So just pulled it up. I have 2 prop bets that are live right now. It is, this one's already won. Zach Gallen under 5.5 strikeouts and Kate Povich under 4.5 strikeouts. All right. So I've got 3 things. I got those 2 bets, which have already won, and I've got the Orioles money line going right now. Not bad.
Yeah. I had I was going to take the under on Kate Povich and forgot, and then ended up paying attention to all the Nick Kurtz stuff. He's sandwiched between 4 righties that he should be carried around for the 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. Best pick'em square you can get to today as well.
All right, let's talk about tonight's MLB slate. And first, Eric, any kind of overarching thoughts on the slate? Anything that you want to make the people aware of? There's some.
Yesterday was dumb. Can we like at least bring up yesterday and just like how insane it was that no pitcher scored above 22 fantasy points? Like that was an insane slate. I don't even know what to say, but like Zebby Matthews is on the mound today, so it's a little bit different as far as like running back everything on the White Sox side in the same capacity that we did yesterday, but I'm not as high on the field as what the field is. And we were right about the Yu Darvish thing. Man, he was popular. Holy mother of God, was Yu Darvish popular. So that ended up working out pretty nicely. It could have even been worse if he hadn't struck out 3 in the first. Didn't strike out the side because, well, he gave up a lot of hits and such of that nature. But you did not have very much fun playing Yu Darvish yesterday, nor Coors Field with ejected batters. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, it was the White Sox against Simeon Woods Richardson. They were the winning stack by a pretty wide margin. And then he just paid up for pitching yesterday, which, Michael Lorenzen did have a decent start. Max Fried was a good contrarian pitcher on the high end yesterday. So there were some pretty good spots overall. But Coors Field yesterday, a little bit of a disaster because Matt Chapman, Willie Adames, they both get ejected before they even gotten at bat or anything like that. But let's look ahead to today's slate. And once again, little bit of weird starting pitching slate. And as a result, we once again have really spread out ownership. We've got Zebby Matthews, the most popular pitcher on the slate, 31% owned. Ryan Bergert, he's 26% owned. Then you got Aaron Nola, who has been absolute dog shit this year, 20% owned. George Kirby's 21% owned. And then you get another 4 pitchers who are just over 10% owned. Will Warren, Robbie Ray, Matthew Liberatore, Jeffrey Springs. Eric, this is not a great pitching slate.
No, it's horrendous. And I thought yesterday was bad to some extent. Like, I thought the expensive pitchers were somewhat difficult to kind of like justify getting above the field in any way, shape, or form. I mean, you had the worst outing of Brian Wu of the season, a couple of other spots like that. But George Kirby, he's only 9,500 today. I did bet the first 5. I like Seattle to, just straight up when you can isolate him and Adrian Hauser. I'll definitely take that one. That should be a little bit wider line than what it is. But like overall, I look at a guy like George Kirby, and I've never been the biggest fan on planet Earth, but he definitely gives me like the most safety. I feel like for cash games, I mean, we've generally just said, the 2 most popular pitchers, but like it's spread out enough here. And then Bergert's cheap enough and goes against the Angels. I still feel like I would want the certainty of George Kirby, but there is justification considering Tampa Bay with that AAA ballpark where you just save the salary and go Zebby and then go Ryan Bergert. But like, I think it's an actually interesting pitching slate, game theory slate. Like, who is the field going to end up on more than what we think? And there's a part of me that thinks George Kirby gets left by the wayside for whatever reason.
We've got 2 pay-up pitchers. They are George Kirby and Robbie Ray. Both of them are pitching in horrendous ballparks. You got George Kirby on the road in Tampa Bay. You saw Brian Wu ultimately salvage his start, but got off to a really slow start yesterday. I think it was through like 3 innings. He gave him up 3 runs with no strikeouts or something like that. Overall, relative, like he didn't want to have him yesterday, but ultimately overall relative, like no pitchers were really like exceptional. But anyway, George Kirby, he's in that same matchup on the road in Tampa Bay. You got Robbie Ray on the road in Colorado against the Rockies. Between Kirby and Ray, do you have a preference for GPPs?
Yeah, for GPPs, it's going to be Robbie Ray. I do think George Kirby gives me like the warm and fuzzies. Just as far as like, I do think that he has a decent enough floor here. You brought up the major concern, which is the ballpark, but Robbie Ray gets Colorado, and we're seeing muted ownership on him. The Sims are basically at the field on both of these guys. So it's almost like do you have a stand? Anything? I think Robbie Ray has crazy high potential in this one. It's Colorado. If we just blindly did this every single day, I know that that's been a talking point. I don't know how many times here, but like you can blindly put together what Colorado's lineup is going to be on a day in, day out basis. And I don't think there's as many strikeouts available as what there were for Webb yesterday in this version of the lineup when they get rolled out, with Freeman up top, Tavar where he is. Bernabel ends up in that lineup who's been sub 20% all season, but it's Robbie Ray and the stuff. And you know what you're getting into, but you're getting a discount on ownership as a result. So I think for GPPs, I'm probably going to end up a little over the field on Robbie Ray, but I'm probably going to end up right around 20% on both of them, if I'm being honest. So it's kind of a moot point.
It's Robbie Ray for me in GPPs. I mean, you're talking about one of the pitchers with the widest range of outcomes in normal circumstances. And now you're adding all these other additional variables to the mix where Robbie Ray is in Coors Field. Obviously, that's a negative. Pitching against the Rockies, though, that's a positive because their offense is terrible. So I saw there was somebody here, it is Sotex in chat said, Robbie Ray is live to get 40 or -5. Yeah, that's more or less correct. And considering that pitching isn't great today, his ownership is modest. Also, 9K isn't really breaking the bank in terms of salary for him at a 12.9% ownership. That's what we have him projected for right now. I'm pretty interested in Robbie Ray as a pay up GPP option, just because there's those wide range of outcomes. We know the ceiling is massive. If Robbie Ray was 40% owned, I would love stacking against him today. But since he's low owned and he has the wide range of outcomes, my preference is to play him and be overweight to the field. So George Kirby's about 2x the ownership of Robbie Ray. I prefer Ray for the discounted ownership and the guy who generally does present more upside.
Yep, that's how I feel. But again, I'm not going to be probably jamming him to some extent. So I kind of look at that. Just had Cap and Akella was asking in chat, any weather concerns? I think the main one that exists, we've got the Athletics in St. Louis. It's just pop-ups, though. Same thing with Kansas City. And then no real issues, I don't think. You have some decent hitting weather once again in Minnesota. I talked about that last night on Lindy's Leans, Likes, Locks. Kind of a ballpark that Wind Finder I'm kind of used to looking at. And you get some conflicting stuff from time to time over there. But good, looks like good hitting weather overall. But yeah, I don't have any considerations I'm going to make for it. Do you?
No, not right now. And yeah, good shout out, Cap and Akella from Discord. If you guys want access to the Discord, you can sign up for any of the packages using the link down below in the YouTube description box. There's some games with a chance of rain, but not in a way that it's going to impact the teams I want to be stacking, the pitchers I'm looking at. If anything changes, I'll let you guys know. But for right now, it's no weather adjustments for me. It's run everything as is, see what we get to, make decisions from there. But no impactful rain for DFS.
Nope, we look at it the same way then.
And we have another question here. This one is from, oh, never mind. I realized that just coincidentally, this is a question from Hey, I'm Drew. He tagged me in, but it was in the NFL DFS chat, and he just sent it now. So I assumed it was relative to the MLB Slate, but it's not. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I realized, okay, it looks like he sent a message in the NFL chat, but it is a baseball question. He accidentally posted in the wrong chat. Hey, I'm Drew. I got you here. He says, hey, guys, moving to California in 10 days near LA, so any extra cash could be helpful. I know Eric could tell him that it's quite expensive. With all that in mind, this is like one of the Seth questions where we get the whole prelude about his wife's boyfriend, and then there's just a totally unrelated question. That's kind of what this is. Hey, I'm Drew, in short, wants to know what the cash game plays are for today.
Okay. Yeah. Pretty easy. I mean, I was thinking, this is just ridiculous. I was thinking about playing cash on FanDuel and potentially, because there's been some tickets and some overlay there. There ended up not being, and DraftKings really has no overlay. They shrunk contests yesterday. There was overlay in played like the $3, $12, $44, like everything overlaid to some extent over on DK yesterday. I'm not sure if anybody noticed or played in those as well, but I was looking at running a cash lineup today, but didn't end up happening. I think you still play George Kirby in cash. I didn't find it all that cost prohibitive. You want to get to something as far as like on the expensive, like I think Cal Raleigh is something that is actually cash consideration, but with Shea Langoliers now leading off again, 5,400, I'd rather make him the spend up. So I'm not going to be getting to the tippy top for him. Aaron Judge, I mean, come on, it's Aaron Judge. Kyle Schwarber left on left, Trey Turner. Like some of the other expensive bats aren't in the best spots, or they don't have platoon and, are facing not reverse splits pitchers. So I think outside of like Shea Langoliers, where that's like a spend up, Aaron Judge should be pretty easy to get to. It's not that cost prohibitive to play 5 San Francisco Giants and just move along with your life. They're not expensive enough.
Yeah, so for me, I think the best way to go about this slate. Now, if you have the excess money, you could go up to George Kirby. Otherwise, though, I think the way to go is Ryan Bergert, Zebby Matthews, and then the Giants bats. That's my favorite way to go about building it. But then if you get to a point where it's like, hey, I've got all this leftover salary, then cool. Go turn Bergert or Zebby Matthews into George Kirby. But I really don't think any pitchers other than Zebby Matthews, just because Matthews is the one pitcher is really popular and he presents a lot of upside. Other than him, I wouldn't really consider any other pitchers as somebody who was like, you should play in cash. I think you should play Zebby Matthews in cash. And then the other ones, it's kind of like a preference of what you go to for the second pitcher. But for me, if I'm building a cash game lineup right now, Ryan Bergert, Zebby Matthews, Giant stacks, and then fill it in with whatever else fits. That's how I think you should be going about it.
Yep. Pretty darn simple to do. I mean, I found it easier to go Adames, Chapman, Flores, Schmidt, Gilbert, and just going 3 through 7. on San Francisco, building out like my presumptive cash lineup, but again, didn't end up rolling it out, just playing GPPs today, but it already kind of like built it out for fun today.
All right, let's go ahead and look at the next cropping of pitchers where how is Jason Alexander $8,800 against the New York Yankees, Eric?
No idea. I mean, they thought it was going to be Seinfeld, Jason Alexander, and they wanted to give him a shout out. Like, that's about it.
He stinks. It would be one thing if he stunk in a way where at least he was out like if he was getting lucky, right? Because you see this where it's like pitcher, it's like, this guy's no good, but he's got like a 3.6 ERA, he's just got like a 5 expected ERA, like Randy Vasquez for a lot of the season or something like that. That's not even the case with Jason Alexander. He's got a 4.61 ERA, 4.72 expected ERA, 4.85 FIP, doesn't generate strikeouts at all with a 19% strikeout rate. So how he in the algorithm landed at $8,800, the third most expensive pitcher on the slate against the Yankees, totally mind-blowing to me, and still is 6% owned somehow. We got Jason Alexander, Cade Horton at $8,500. He's been a standout rookie for the Cubs, also one who's kind of been lucky and outperformed his peripheral stats. So like him, I can understand how he ends up being priced at $8,500 because at least he's had some luck on his side. Then you got Zebby Matthews at $8,200, Will Warren at $8K. Let's talk about the Zebby Matthews chalk. He's the most popular pitcher on the slate, 31% owned, big-time strikeout upside, going up against the Chicago White Sox. What do you want to be doing with Zebby Matthews today relative to his ownership?
I'm going to come in below because I do think he gets steamed up to no man's land, and I'm playing single entry as well. I'm probably not going to play him there. Wind is blowing out to right field here. Zebby Matthews, we've talked about him so much. The slider is ridiculous. The slider is an actual ridiculous pitch. He's always going to be a strikeout arm because of one pitch, but he's also a guy with a 10.5% barrel percentage, a 334 xWOBA, and they put Kyle Teal leading off, Sosa, Montgomery, Cuero, Benintendi. This is not a great lineup for strikeouts. Chase Mydroth, I mean, would want him higher, but considering the injury to Luis Robert, considering you don't get Mike Tauchman up there, who's been a 24% strikeout guy all season long, this rolled out in a way where other than Corey Lee replacing, a catcher like Kyle Teal, this is a very difficult strikeout matchup, even though it's the White Sox. Like, you get Michael Taylor, you get Baldwin, and Zebby Matthews has the kind of stuff that, Colson Montgomery, as good as he's been, 33% home run rate over the course of this, 33% home run rate is redonkulous, but I mean, I just can't, maybe this is just what I do, Greg. Maybe this is my bit. I cheer for a team, but I cheer against every pitcher that we throw out there every single day because they drive me nuts. They can find strikeouts from time to time, but he has such a high fly ball, 35.7% ground ball percentage, 27% fly ball rate. Like, I have a lot of concerns for a mega chalk Zebby Matthews, and I feel like I've been on the other side of this where we've played a lot of Zebby Matthews the last month. I am very much stacking against him today.
So I think this is a good one to play both sides of with Zebby Matthews, where I think he is more upside than any other pitcher on the slate relative to his price. Actually, I'll say second most. There's something Robbie Ray has more upside. I'm going to say that Zebby Matthews is the second most upside outside of Robbie Ray. But at the same time, too, it's not like Zebby Matthews is, like lights out, can't miss pitcher. He's a guy who generates a ton of strikeouts and gives up a lot of hard contact. He's got a 5.06 ERA, a 4.44 expected ERA, but a 27% strikeout rate for the year, 26% strikeout rate overall for his career, the 27% being for this season. So I definitely want to be playing more of Zebby Matthews than the 30% that he's projected to be owned at. But I also want to be playing some leverage stacks of the White Sox on the other side because Zebby Matthews isn't all that good. This is like one of these UFC fights where it's like you got two fat guys fighting against each other. It's a pick 'em fight, but it's like minus 300 to finish inside the distance. Somebody's scoring.
That heavyweight who always ends up bringing it to the ground? The guy that's always he's the Eastern guy that is always doing that crap. I'm trying to remember. It's like a short last name.
Sergey Spivak.
That's exactly who I was thinking of. Is that who I was thinking of? Yeah. I think that's who it was. But somebody who just takes it to the ground immediately. That's such an unlikely result when you put Zebby Matthews up against a major league lineup. And I will say this too. The White Sox, most people, I would say, are more impressed with the White Sox than you otherwise would have. I mean, Colson Montgomery, we kind of knew that after like a day. I watched Colson Montgomery play one time and I'm like, oh shit, that is a major league approach. He hits the ball like a cannon, and boy, has that come to fruition. I didn't think he would be this good this fast, but 537 expected slugging, that looks really nice in a White Sox uniform. You got to feel pretty inspired with him. Lennon Sosa probably having the most under the radar season of anybody in baseball. 732 OPS. That's up 160 points from 2 years ago for him. Continues to get better and better against righties. He was always able to hit lefties. Like, I'm really impressed by Lennon Sosa. Like, this is a White Sox team that, you know, obviously they peeled off. They didn't have any of their starting pitchers of the last 5-6 years, but like, if they can find a way to bring in a piece or two, like, I mean, everybody was talking how competitive the NL Central or the AL Central is going to be this year. It could be even more so next year because Colson Montgomery's kind of that dude, and Sosa, Benintendi, Teal's all right as well. I mean, this has been a fun team. Brooks Baldwin, I've really enjoyed as well.
So if you don't like Zebby Matthews in the $8,200 range, is there somebody else who you prefer to roster in the 8K range as a pivot? You just like more, or maybe it's a different price range. What do you make of the other pitchers in the 8K range?
Will Warren. How do we feel about Will Warren?
Yeah, so Will Warren in a lot of ways is kind of similar to Zebby Matthews in terms of.
But here's my big thing. Why is he not more owned? Like,
matchup.
The guy's a 31% K rate against righties, and he's facing a Houston team that, yeah, they got Alvarez back. Yeah, they've got Jesus Sanchez, but then Tramel's batting ninth. They put Caratini in there, but he gets Pena, Altuve, Correa, Diaz, Urias. None of them crazy strikeout arms. But we're talking about a guy who has like nearly a 10-11% split between righty and lefties, and he should be really, really higher owned relative to like Zebby Matthews pulling this ownership facing more lefties than what he is. I mean, I don't quite understand it. So I'll just ask you, why the hell is he not pulling more ownership?
Yeah, this is considerably tougher matchup for Will Warren, in my opinion.
Well, for sure, but
that's the reason why, though.
Okay. But like 2-1?
Yeah, so there's multiple factors here. Number one, Will Warren, I think, is in a much more difficult matchup. He also doesn't have the same upside that Zebby Matthews does. It's funny, like Will Warren is his numbers are like sort of similar to Zebby Matthews, but it's with a little bit less blow up risk and slightly less strikeout upside. Will Warren for the year, 4.3 ERA, 4.3 at expected ERA, 25% strikeout rate. So still like overall kind of been inconsistent, somewhat similar to Zebby Matthews. But yeah, like if there was nothing to consider, but just the matchups and the price points, I would definitely prefer Zebby Matthews. I think the 2-1 is more or less fair. And if you look at the Sims, like the Sims still get us overweight to Will Warren. He's showing up in 20% of lineups at 16% ownership here. So he still shows up in lineups, just not as many as Zebby Matthews.
Christian Yelich scratched, so a bunch of pick'em cards. They're going to get downgraded, worse prices. I had his home run. I bet it over on Profit X and had a couple of other spots where tied it up to some freebies like the Dak Prescott play. So that goes by the wayside. Thank you, Duke. Thank you. Yeah. Shake your ass in my face. That'll make me feel better. God.
He's taunting you.
He is taunting me. He's like, Dad, you suck. Thanks. Thanks, bud. Appreciate you.
Well, we got the updated Brewers lineup: Terang, Chourio, Contreras, Frelick, Collins, Perkins, Bauer, Siegler, and then Ortiz. So this
Chourio wasn't even in the lineup before.
Slightly diminished version of the lineup. I want to know now as we go to the 7K range, is this going to change how you view Aaron Nola at all? So Aaron Nola at $7,700 is pitching on the road in Milwaukee. That is not at all a desirable matchup. And Aaron Nola, I don't know about you, but there was a point in time this year where I would look at Aaron Nola at a cheap price point. I'd be like, that's pretty cheap for Aaron Nola. And then as he's made more and more starts, now it's, boy, Aaron Nola's kind of bad and he should be priced where he's priced. And it's just everything across the board is down for him. He's 32 years old now. His fastball velocity is down a full mile per hour from last year. He has a 6.47 ERA, a 4.98 expected ERA, a 5.04 FIP. His strikeout rate, he can still generate some strikeouts, but it's for sure on the decline. And this has also been a year-over-year thing. Same, his velocity has been going down year-over-year for a few years now. His strikeout rate, the last handful of years, go back to 2020, 2020, 33% strikeout rate for Aaron Nola. In 2021, 30% strikeout rate. Still elite, 33% to 30%. You don't think all that much of it. 2022, 29%. Still, once again, you go, still pretty good. Don't think too much of it. In 2023, the 29% strikeout rate goes to 25.5%. And you go, all right, something's going on here. Last year, 24%. This year, 23.5%. So you got a guy who's now getting into his 30s. Velocity's down. Results are down. The strikeouts aren't there. I think he's just washed at this point. But now the question is, Christian Yelich is out of the lineup. Does that kind of change the equation at all? Because I was looking at Aaron Nola as a good pitcher to stack against for leverage.
I'm more on the stacking side. I mean, one of the major things going on with Aaron Nola this year so far is major splits. I mean, he is striking out righties at a 28% clip. He has been unbelievably bad against lefties. 20.6% K rate, 17.3 degree average launch angle, 406 xWOB, but 270 expected ISO. So you use Yelich. That was very, very tilting. No doubt about that. I also saw that comment. Fuck you. And I really think, adding Churio is, he's a good batter and somebody that you wouldn't think mattered all that much to downgrade. But I think it is a downgrade. The other thing is Isaac Collins goes from 2-hole to 5-hole. Have Frelick go from 7-hole to 4-hole. So maybe that gives you a little bit more value to be able to make the Milwaukee stack work in a very easy way with a Kirby plus Zebby kind of capacity. But it's an upgraded lineup. I would definitely say just based on the splits. I mean, 28% K rate to righties. And now you have Churio batting second. You don't have Yelich batting cleanup. Still enough lefties where, I'm more on the stacking side with you just because of what he's been. But what ended up happening to Jake Bauers? He went from 5-hole to 7-hole. There were so many things that I have to change in my sheet. Now, this was a very annoying 1-for-1 swap in. This is completely different.
Yeah, different looking lineup. I mean, obviously the key here is that there is no Christian Yelich. That's the primary thing to take note of here. So, Aaron Nola shows up a little bit here in the Sims 15%. I like him less than our data. It's the same thing. We had, it's funny because these pitchers both pitched 5 days ago too. When you were on vacation, Matt and I had an at-length conversation about Aaron Nola and about Will Warren. And once again, they're pretty close in price. And I just have the same conclusion that I had the other day when we were having the conversation, which is I do not think that Aaron Nola is a good pitcher anymore. And even though there is no Christian Yelich in the lineup for the Brewers on the road to Milwaukee, that is not a favorable matchup for Aaron Nola. One other thing to consider too about Milwaukee, Jackson Churio was out for a while. He's back in the mix. I think the most likely scenario here is that Aaron Nola gets touched up a little bit by the Brewers because I don't know that I would trust him against any big league team right now.
Probably more in that camp, that side with you.
What are you liking in the 7K range? Who is it that you would want to be rostering if you could just pick one pitcher? Is it the chalk in Burger? With that said, I mean, Nola is one of the more popular pitchers on the slate. We currently have him projected as the 4th most popular pitcher. What do you make of Burger or maybe any other 7K pitchers you might like?
Yeah, it's definitely Burger out of anybody in the 7K range. Insert whatever we talk about with the Angels. I mean, the Angels have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys who have north of a 26% strikeout rate. Burger has been downright good over the course of the first couple of starts in the big league level. I kind of like this guy. I mean, he had been a bullpen arm for a long time, but extended now to 5+ innings in 5 straight, 6 innings his last time out for his first quality start. He's just been a good pitcher. And now you get the strikeout upside. Fangraphs, everybody kind of represent his fastball and breaking stuff pretty well. His slider, sweeper are not bad pitches by any means. Pretty much everything for Burger just kind of lines up for what we've done in DFS all year long. It's let's target Colorado. Let's target the Angels. And as you said yesterday too, there's no Mike Trout, which might be a slight downgrade for strikeouts. Maybe even not really, considering it's Chris Taylor who filled in for him. But I do think we have a really good spot for Ryan Bergert that's pretty undeniable.
Yeah, so we've got here Jeff name is 4172. So Jeff's actual name is 4172. Friendly reminder to everybody: do not use
Oh my
DraftKings
God.
for your news. I understand they might have Yelich in the lineup. Doesn't matter. Don't go ahead and look at it. What now?
Don't do that. Somebody said I looked disengaged earlier. I think the opposite. I'm extremely engaged, almost like more engaged than I should be. I don't know. I'm trying to react to like WNBA news because, I decided that today would be a great day to try to fit that into my life, betting WNBA. And I mean, just shut up, Sotex. You're mean. I got you, but yeah, you're left. I'm sorry.
Wait, Duke was showing some booty. Eric gets distracted. It happens. It happens to all.
Literally got up and I thought he was like, I was like, why did you just stop right in front of my face, bro? Someone get the man a beer. I need a beer. I haven't drank for 5 days. I haven't drank since Saturday.
It is true. You are bringing up WNBA news on an MLB show.
Sure did. That's probably not okay. But here's the thing is that money is money. We don't really care how we spend it. Like we just want to make it, accumulate it.
I like Ryan Bergert the most in the 7K range. Good matchup for him against the Los Angeles Angels, and also just a watered-down version of the Angels lineup, considering that some of their key pieces are banged up at the moment. And Ryan Bergert also, relative to some of the other pitching options on the slate, like I don't think he's any kind of lights-out starter. He's been a hell of a lot better than Aaron Nola, who's the other somewhat popular pitcher in this price range, though. So I think that Ryan Bergert is considerably better of an option today compared to Aaron Nola. And you're getting him at a comparable price point. You are getting him at comparable ownership as well. He is $200 cheaper, a little bit more popular, but Bergert overall for the year, 2.67 ERA. Like, yeah, that's not going to uphold, but still he's got a 4.09 expected ERA, 4.18 FIP. His strikeout rate is sitting at 22.5% overall for the year. So even if we said like, all right, this is a guy who should have an ERA somewhere around 4, but he's going to be generating some strikeouts and he's getting this matchup against the Angels. Yeah, I like Ryan Bergert in 7K range.
All right, cool. We're on the same page there.
Any punts that you're liking for today?
No. Do you? I think you can play a little Matthew Liberatore if you really feel inclined. I'm not touching Yandris Gomez or Homies, however you say it. Bryce Elder, I would rather punch myself in the face, which I really don't feel like doing today. Other days I do. I got nothing. I got nothing on the cheap end that I'm going to have in more than like 2% of lineups randomly. So I thought about this like ridiculous. Like I want Marquez to just be $0 and see if people actually click on him or not. Like that would be really, really fun for me. But other than like a couple shares of Liberatore, I got nothing.
Yeah, so we did get a super chat here where Cully Poston asked us, could Bryce Elder be serviceable? So I think you're asking the question the wrong way. Could he be serviceable? Any pitcher could be serviceable. Random shit happens. The question is he likely enough to be serviceable for us to want to roster him? For what it's worth, out of 150 lineups favored in the Sims, he showed up in 2 of them. His numbers overall for the year, 5.85 ERA, 4.98 expected ERA. He doesn't generate strikeouts, 17.9%. He's bad. He doesn't have an ideal matchup. Although with that said, Kyle Tucker's hurt. That does make it a little bit easier. People are saying Pete Crow Armstrong is out of the lineup. No offense to Eric's guy here. I don't even know that's a positive for him that Pete Crow Armstrong isn't in the lineup at this point. Have you seen his numbers over the last month and a half?
Sure have.
He's been one of the worst players in baseball. So his numbers overall for the season are still really good because of how good he was early. But I don't know that him being out of the lineup is some kind of big boon for Bryce Elder. Like, I don't think Bryce Elder is any better than Gomez or even Herman Marquez for that matter. He's a replacement level pitcher at this point in his career. He can pitch to contact and he can get lucky, but he gives up a lot of runs. He doesn't generate strikeouts. My preference would be to not roster him.
Yep. 0%. I was curious what was going to happen with, who was going to potentially bat second or something of that nature. Cause like PCA 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs looked really, 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 really good. If he gets up to the 2 hole for Kyle Tucker as the replacement Tucker being out cause he got dinged up. But boy, oh boy, has he been bad for like a month. And I talked about it last night for a long time where I was just like, I didn't even like necessarily stop betting him by choice. It was just simply that for whatever reason, he just was so unbettable at like plus 280, plus 300, where he was sitting for homers in like neutral ballparks. And so it was almost just like books forced my hand to not bet him anymore. You couldn't get an exchange for anybody to pick him up north of plus 330. And it was just like, well, not going to pick him up there. And then he just fell off a cliff. And so it became like, oh shit. Okay. Well, can't really catch up. Whatever he did at the All-Star break, he should never do it again. Did he go to Cabo? Did he, decide to eat, Indian food for the first time and get really, really sick? Whatever he did over the All-Star break ruined him. Don't do it again, Pete. Don't do it again. Whatever was in Atlanta where the players play and they ride on the things like every day, don't do it.
His WRC plus in the month of August, 22.
Jesus.
4.5% walk rate, 25.9% strikeout rate. That's actually not all that out of line with his overall numbers for the year. He hasn't drawn a lot of walks for the season. But yeah, his numbers just absolutely abysmal. Really low BABIP for the month. Wasn't making very much hard contact. And yeah, 22 WRC plus for PCA in the month of August. Not great, Eric.
Bad?
Not great.
That seems bad. My Lord, it's somehow worse than I thought it would be. Holy God.
Sotex using his free super chat just to send Eric some positive vibes. But anyway, no cheapy pictures for us for today, and some good vibes being sent to Eric via the super chats. Let's look at the pitching options on FanDuel really quick. And I think a lot of this is going to be pretty similar to our conversation over on DraftKings, because the pitching also is very spread out over on FanDuel. There are no pitchers north of 20% owned. You got 4 pitchers, double-digit ownership. George Kirby's 18% owned, Zebby Matthews 17% owned, Aaron Nola 14% owned, Ryan Berger 13% owned. Give me Ryan Berger 13% ownership and $8,100 price tag, Eric.
Yep, Berger looks great.
Yeah, you've got Zebby Matthews at 17%. Fine. I'm late on George Kirby at 19% ownership and $10,100. My least favorite pitcher of those 4, it once again has to be Aaron Nola, is 14.5% owned at $8,600 on the road against Milwaukee. I really like stacking against him on FanDuel.
I do too. I was going to bring that up here. And then FanDuel, the other guy that I'm just a little curious what you think. Again, we're just trying to find ways to potentially get a little different. I know it only has a 15.5. Oh God, Yelich scratched due to low back soreness. I never like seeing that with him, but 15.5 outs prop for Robbie Ray. I'm on the over on a pick'em card. It was juiced pretty nicely in a way where thought it made for a nice addition there, but 9,900 for him, less than half the ownership of George Kirby. I really like the idea of Robbie Ray over on FanDuel.
Yeah, we got this super chat here from Fantasy Guru, sleeper pitcher on FanDuel with the highest strikeout upside. Right. And yeah, Robbie Ray at 7% ownership. I think he is the guy. You look at the other options, and also keep in mind the nature of his question. Strikeout, pitcher, sleeper. And if you look at the pitching options over on FanDuel, most of the guys that do have any kind of, there aren't that many pitchers with strikeout upside on the slate. Most of them that do have strikeout upside, like Zebby Matthews, Ryan Berger, Will Warren, also just under 10% on. I think Robbie, of all the pitchers that are realistic strikeout upside guys on FanDuel, Robbie Ray has the least amount of ownership, and he's also not insanely priced at $9,900. Like, he's only $600 more expensive than Zebby Matthews. Also, he is just $1,200 more expensive than Will Warren there. I think the answer is Robbie Ray. To be honest, though, just the way that he asked the question, there are very few pitchers to choose from.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, it's a gross FanDuel slate for even just finding one pitcher, where I think the ownership is rightfully steamed up on Kirby's Matthews. Don't love the Nola one. We talked about that. Ryan Berger's our favorite of the tournament plays amongst those 4. But I really like Robbie Ray as somebody that you want to slide into double-digit lineups if you're playing multiple over on FanDuel today.
Sniffs 1234 in chat wants to know what we make of Jeffrey Springs. So we got Springs. What's his projected ownership? 10%. Pitching against the Cardinals. Pretty uninspiring numbers for the year. 4.17 ERA, 4.21 expected ERA. He used to be a guy who could generate strikeouts. That's not part of his repertoire anymore. His strikeout rate is 19% this year. I just so much rather play Ryan Berger for $200 more. I think that Jeffrey Springs is all right as a pitcher. There's just not a real upside there, whereas there is a guy who's $200 more expensive that does bring some upside to the table.
Yeah, I mean, the back half of that lineup was kind of appealing, and I was trying to redo some strikeout stuff before we got on this show just to see if there was anything that I could bet. But boy, with Wynn, Herrera, Nootbaar to start things off. By the way, Lars Nootbaar, kind of sneaky as somebody to boost. Just want to throw that out there. Left on left, not a problem. But I look at the back half of that lineup is, yeah, he could definitely find a couple there. You get the Sagasi piece in batting fifth. You get Walker anytime he's in a lineup. You know he's going to be striking out a bunch. But I was hoping to see Jimmy Crooks back in it. I was hoping to see, Nolan Gorman maybe even like cleanup potentially. But considering it's three guys who don't strike out a ton right from the get-go here, I'm just not in love with the strikeout stuff for Jeffrey Springs this year. I used to back him quite a bit in Tampa. I don't know what happened from a DFS perspective, but yeah, won't be there in any capacity today.
Simply stop getting strikeouts. He was in Tampa Bay. He had, strikeout rates. He was hurt a lot. So it was kind of all small sample sizes, but the pitching that we did get out of him, he was a guy who was striking out like mid to high 20% of the hitters he faced. And he just doesn't do that anymore. He pitches to contact a lot more. Maybe to something to do with the ballpark.
Organizational choices. I mean, that's kind of the Andrew Heaney story, right? Andrew Heaney back with the Dodgers. Dodgers signed him, which is kind of hilarious because the guy had like a 36% strikeout rate with them. So maybe there's some special lotion out here in LA. Well, I shouldn't have said it like that. That's going to go over poorly.
Duke's going to stand up again. Not again, Dad. Not again.
I am Eric Susquist. That is me. Just posting, trolling myself for engagement.
Negating all positive vibes towards Eric. So, we've gone over pitching on FanDuel. We've gone over pitching on DraftKings. Let's talk some stacks now. And I love to see this, Eric, because the team that showed up the most as a stack in the Sims, the Milwaukee Brewers. Yep. I already love, just on my own, looking at the ownership of the pitchers and trying to figure out who is the pitcher with the most upside that presents the most potential to be blown up. I don't know if I framed that correctly. You get the idea, though. Aaron Nola. I like stacking against Aaron Nola. Went over before. He's been abysmal this year. Stacked against him in his last start. Went pretty well. I think it's worth stacking against him today. The Sims like the Brewers. I think they make a whole lot of sense as a leverage stack as well. If you're picking just one team to stack for a small field contest, Eric, who would be the team that you choose to go with? By the way, we'll talk about the Giants also in Coors Field. Giants, once again, crazy popular, 22% owned. But first, one individual team, if you're just picking one to stack, who would you go with?
Yeah, it's probably going to be Milwaukee now, especially like it's just one of those funny things how you remove Yelich and it's like, oh, well, shit, you lose like the best lefty in there. And that's the whole point. I guess Bryce Trang's been so ridiculously hot that you could maybe make a case for that. Just his numbers over the last month plus have been absurd. But I do think you get some cheaper guys in there. I was kind of a big fan of taking George Kirby and Robbie Ray along for the ride in single entry and just kind of letting lesser pitchers. I mean, Ryan Berger's been good. I don't want to negate that one. I think he is very live for single entry, but like the Nola ownership never made any sense to me. I was never going to play a lot of him as is. You do get another righty in there, which bears well for Nola's strikeouts, but these lefties are just pesky for Milwaukee. And one thing you don't want to do, you don't want to bet against God and you don't want to bet against these Milwaukee Brewers. I tell you what, they just find ways to get things done. I was very happy about copy paste putting more Milwaukee in. The Kansas City one's interesting. It's interesting, but like I'm not a huge fan of it at this ownership. Plus, you're not getting that leverage element, which is very, very important. And I don't think Caden Dana is going to be very long for this game, unless he's just really, really rolling. He's only 21. He's a guy that they still like the stuff. He's been all right. You never know how AAA is going to go because, the PCL is a joke. He has nearly a 6 ERA there, but like the stuff looked okay in his first couple of 3 inning big league appearances. He walked a lot of dudes. He walked a lot of dudes at AAA, but like that doesn't give you as many fantasy points as we're looking for. And they're going to be really popular.
Yeah. So for me, once again, I already said the Milwaukee Brewers, but also want to talk about what we want to do with the Colorado Rockies, because them going up against Herman Marquez, really the question here is just what do you want to do with them relative to their ownership? They are 22% owned over on DraftKings, 26% owned on FanDuel. Yesterday, Eric, in some ways, they had the red carpet rolled out for them because the game starts, guy gets on base. I can't remember whether Ramos walked or
Ramos.
singled.
He
Either
had
way,
a
Ramos
double.
gets on base.
Yeah.
Never sits a 2-run homer. And then you get Kyle Freeland ejected. Senzatella comes in. But the thing that kind of fucks up the whole team is that Chapman and Adames also get ejected as part of the brouhaha that goes on there. What do you want to do with the Giants today at massive, massive ownership? You could see what the Sims are doing. The Sims are getting us underweight to the Giants in Coors Field, which very, very rarely happens. What do you want to do with them at north of 20% projected ownership?
Copy paste yesterday. I mean, I'm more okay with getting to them today, especially now that we got word that Chapman was going to be in the lineup. He's appealing his suspension, so you can play until it gets like upheld. But the one thing that's really annoying about San Francisco that's going to take their ownership to the moon, this multi-positional eligibility. I mean, in cash games, you're playing Schmidt, second base, third base. You're playing Chapman, probably in the 4-hole. You're playing Flores, probably at first instead of Devers, although you can make a case for getting to either of them, and then you could play all three if you wanted to there. You get a 5K Ramos. He's not expensive enough. And then you get some cheapies in Bailey, 3,200, Gilbert, 3,200 in the 6-hole is kind of a cash game staple. Like, there's so many guys that are underpriced there, and you get the multi-positional eligibility. That said, I like them as lineup filler more today. Same thing as yesterday, where obviously that didn't work out as well, but I was way underweight to every bat there. I'm still there for Devers. I'm still there for Chapman. I'm still there for Flores. Like, these are guys that are still showing up for me. But as a 5-man stack, I'm totally on board with what the Sims are doing. I really like the idea of being underweight to some of these like ancillary options for San Francisco that I don't think carry all that much upside.
Tomorrow, it is the start of NFL season. We got a couple of deals for you guys. Actually, 3 of them to be exact. If you guys want to check out our tools for the showdown slates on Thursday and Friday, you get access to our NFL core package for just $1. $1 with the promo code opener. That is going to be good for Thursday Night Football, Friday Night Football, and the 2-game slate as well. If you want to get a longer term subscription, 30% off any monthly package with the promo code football. So you get any NFL package, whether you want to get a core package, a max package, 30% off with that promo code football. Or if you are positive you're going to be playing NFL DFS and using our data and tools for the entirety of the season, 10% off with the promo code BIRD. And that's good just not for NFL, but also one of the all access packages. So if you want to sign up for a package for the entirety of the NFL season, or want to get access to not just the NFL tools for the entire season, but also the all access package. So maybe you're going to be playing NBA as well. 10% off the yearly package, promo code BIRD. We've got offers for everybody here. $1 off with the promo code opener, 30% off a monthly package with the promo code football, or promo code BIRD to get yourself 10% off a yearly package. Eric, what are the other stacks that are important to you for tonight's slate, if any? We've talked about, I like the Brewers a lot. Also have talked about the Giants in terms of, I agree with the Sims, by the way, when it comes to the Giants. Like, obviously, there's no issue playing them. I do think this ownership is crazy, especially if you're playing small field stuff. 26% owned over on FanDuel, 22% owned over on DraftKings. Those numbers are a little bit rich for me in terms of ownership on an individual stack. What else are you looking at? There's one other team I really want to highlight, but I want to hear what else you're liking.
Chicago Cubs. I really like them against Bryce Elder. I mean, Bryce Elder has some of the worst stuff. I mean, he's just awful in general. I mean, some of the hard contact that he has given up this year and every year. I mean, 178 expected ISO, 183 expected ISO to righties. It's been exponentially worse somehow. I mean, 362 xWOBA to lefties, no strikeouts whatsoever, 18% to both sides of it. Looks like the weather kind of improved for us as well. And then the stack I brought up beforehand, another one that's very important for me, the White Sox going up against Zebby Matthews. I mean, this is a guy that has the strikeout potential, but I am kind of getting the feeling, just you look around the industry, you look at what we have projected, and boy, oh boy, Zebby Matthews could get steamed up in single entry. And if I want to be getting to a couple of bats on the other side of it, Andrew Benintendi, obviously, you can only play one catcher. Both of them are very, very cheap here for the White Sox, and that's a little bit annoying. So FanDuel, I think that might be a spot to potentially deploy him a little bit. Although you look at the FanDuel ownership, 17%, he's less popular than a George Kirby against Tampa. Tampa's really expensive. George Kirby's been pretty good. I kind of want to stay away from that, but still the White Sox, one that I like getting to.
I want to stack the Yankees against Jason Alexander. Alexander's not popular today. I'm stunned he's pulling any kind of meaningful ownership, though. We talked about his numbers when we were going over the pitching options before. He's the third most expensive pitcher over on DraftKings. Totally insane to me. And his numbers overall for the year are just flat out bad. He wasn't even a good pitcher in the minor leagues, Jason Alexander. So I think that he is somebody who could be got. The Yankees are not all that popular against him either. The Yankees are pricey, but what's the opportunity cost? It's not like we've got Tyreek Skubal to pay up for on the slate or anything like that. So I want to stack the Yankees against Jason Alexander, who has a 15.5% home run to fly ball rate, a 4.61 ERA, 4.72 expected ERA. So it puts the ball in play, doesn't generate strikeouts with that sub 20% strikeout rate. I think this is a pretty good spot to be going to the Yankees, who also have the second highest top stack odds in the top stack score. The only team higher, obviously, is the San Francisco Giants. So they are the highest top stack score of any team that isn't in Coors Field.
Don't hate it. Aaron Judge, one of those guys that on slates like this, where, we have eternal amounts of like cheap pitchers that you can get to, or there's like nobody who feels good about a pitcher in general, like George Kirby, some of the guys just that have great matchups. Like these are the spots where it's like, all right, yeah, batting isn't as predictive, but Aaron Judge is 12.5% owned. It's freaking Aaron Judge against somebody named Jason Alexander with a short porch to left. Like totally get what you're looking at there as well. It's just one of those teams, the Yankees, they're not pulling as much ownership as they probably should. I'm just kind of going through this right now too. It makes sense though. Not a single guy outside of Ben Rice has multi-positional eligibility. So you have 4 outfielders to play 3 spots. It's going to trim down on some of the popularity, but no doubt Jason Alexander, he is he's a funny guy. We know Jason Alexander to be funny. So shout out the Yankees. I like that call. I'm going to give him a little boost here.
Yeah, formerly worked in the front office for the Yankees. I've followed the trials and tribulations of George Costanza.
Yep.
Are there any other teams that are important to you to get to as stacks for today?
Not really. Some of it's filler. I like the Athletics. I talked about some of the betting potential there against Liberatore. He gives it up to lefties, righties, everybody to some extent, but God, they're expensive. It's really, really hard for me to like click on those main guys all together. I mean, Brent Rooker's 4,700 now, which I guess is just a fall down for him, I suppose. But overall, you don't have Tyler Soderstrom in there. You're getting Nick Kurtz, who's first base only there. Yeah, it's kind of a tough sell for me when some of the other teams on this slate are just in exponentially better spots. But anytime I can get to the A's at like lower ownership, I would do so. But yeah, they look about appropriately owned today, like 3-4% as a 4-man stack, or sorry, as a 5-man stack. I was looking at FanDuel there, but probably will pass when it's all said and done. I wanted to ask you one that's popping a little for me is Philly, but I don't love it as much as the Sims do at the moment. I just reran my lineups one more time and got a little bit more Philly against Quintana. What do you think about them in general? Because Kyle Schwarber has the most home runs in baseball against left-handed pitching because of how many times they bring them in to face him. Hasn't gone well for them, but him and Harper have been pretty immune to lefties coming in.
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable stack to get to. It's just my third favorite pay up stack. Gotcha. So if I'm paying up for an offense, I prefer the Giants and I prefer the Yankees, and then the Phillies would be third. And the Giants also quite a bit, overall, not to reiterate that point. But yeah, overall, if I'm paying up for an offense, my preference is the Yankees for most people who are watching this and maybe just be playing, like a lineup or two or something like that. They're fine. I don't think at 5% owned that they're wildly like off where they should be.
Gotcha.
Let's see if there are any other questions that came into Discord. We did get one from Einstein. He wants to know thoughts on the Angels as a single entry stack. If I'm stacking against a pitcher for leverage, I prefer it to be the Brewers against Nola than the Angels against Berger. But what do you make of the Angels?
Exact same way. Just not a team. not a team that I'm all that interested in trying to attack with. If they had any lefties of any sort, that might be a conversation piece. But outside of the normal, like Neto, Ward, Adele, I find them to be unplayable, like truly, truly, God forbidden, unplayable.
Any other final talking points about offense? If not, we could go ahead and build some lineups in the single lineup sim. We'll build one on DraftKings. We'll build one on FanDuel before we do our home run picks.
Let's do that.
All right. So starting on the DK side of things, let's build out a Brewer stack. Let's build out a Brewer stack and see what we can get this to look like. So from the Brewers, let's put Contreras in. Let's put in Jackson Chourio. Who else do we want to go to here, Eric?
I love Isaac Collins. He got kind of a lineup demotion from 2 to 5, which is kind of weird, but him and Frelick, one of the two, definitely want to be adding them to the fray. I'll let you go next.
All right. So we're going with Frelick here. We'll go Isaac Collins. I don't really want to roster too many of the back end guys. Just throw Terang in. All right.
Yep. Got to have Terang.
All right. Let's go to, I'll just put on a 5% randomness, complete the lineup. Let's see. We got Bergert and Will Warren as pitchers. We got Devers, Casey Schmidt added into the lineup. I do think, once again, that the Giants hitters are over-owned at Coors Field. But with that said, when we're stacking the Brewers against Nola, that does mitigate some of those concerns here. Let's run the sim and see how this lineup looks. And pretty solid, 51.4% sim ROI. That's a winner for us. Let's go over to FanDuel now. And Eric, what team do you want to stack on FanDuel? I picked the Brewers on DK, so I'll let you pick our FanDuel stack.
Ooh, well, I was just kind of looking at that. I'm not going to play there today, but let's go to the Yankees. I want to see the Yankees on FanDuel.
All right. So for reference as well with the Yankees, we have them on FanDuel a little bit more pop than they are on DraftKings, 10% owned, 8% top stack odds. So definitely sucks a little bit to the more popular, but you're still looking at like nearly a third of the ownership of what the Giants are. Let's see. Let's sort by projections. Let's start with Judge. Let's put Chisholm into the lineup. I'll put him in at second base. Who else do you like from the Yankees to plug in?
I want to go to, we got so many outfielders to pick from. Stanton. Let's put Stanton in.
He is 36.
Stanton and Grisham, who's like on a different planet at the moment, hitting Oppo Taco into the short porch grand slams and just doing ridiculous shit. Trent Grisham.
Whoops. Still only have this game selected. So let's
I do that all the time. That's literally what I do all the time in the single lineup set. Is I forget. I'm like, all right, I'm still clicked on the game. So that is
interesting. Interesting. We got Yandris Gomez plugged into this lineup at 1% ownership. Then we've got Wilmer Flores. We've got Devers in the lineup. We got Bobby Witt and then Helio Ramos. Interesting. I do not like Gomez, but let's see what happens when we sim this lineup out.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Stop.
Not great. Not terrible. Slightly positive. 3.6% sim ROI. I do once again think the Yankees look different on FanDuel relative to DraftKings just because they are really popular over on FanDuel, but still slightly positive lineup, not the end of the world. Any other teams or anything you want to try to tinker around with this, Eric?
I guess on FanDuel, one more. We did the Milwaukee one. Let's do Kansas City because I know on FanDuel that's going to be one where Witt and Pasquantino, and there's really only like 3-4 bats because you don't have to get the riffraff that you have to go to over on DK. So I think giving Kansas City a spin on the old wheel sounds like it's going to go pretty well.
All right. So here I put in Pasquantino, Michael Garcia, Bobby Witt Jr., and let's complete this one. Here we got. Oh, no.
Oh, my God. No.
We're We're not doing Aaron Nola pitcher.
I've never seen you like take the pitcher out before, but
Nah.
I love that you're doing that because I feel the same way. Robbie Ray or Zebby Matthews. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I just went with Zebby Matthews, and now I'll take out some of these other hitters. Let's complete it. Let's see. We got Devers, Hunter Goodman. All right, cool. Let's run this one. Let's see how this looks.
Love. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies, and stop.
There we go. Much better. Much better. We got an actual pitcher and not Yandris Gomez in the lineup. That did better things for us. 46.4% sim ROI. And with that in mind now, Eric, let's talk about some home runs. So you guys know the deal. Eric's going to do a home run pick. I'm going to do a home run pick. We're going to read your home run picks from chat, and they're all going to watch the slate. Have a good time and have a good night. Eric, who are you picking to go yard today? Who's the pick?
I can't pick frickin' my boy anymore. I can't pick Yelich because, well, he's not playing baseball. That is really, really brutal, the run out there. But you know what? I'm going to go to, just kind of looking at my lineups here. Pascantino would be a little too chalk, although I do like him. Let's go to these Brewers. I'm going to stick with the Brewer theme. He's batting fifth now, but Isaac Collins, 807 OPS. Aaron Nola just giving up eternal amounts of power to lefties. We brought those splits up earlier. Isaac Collins goes yard.
I am going to go with Jazz Chisholm against George Costanza. Let's see what we got from chat now. Reading some of your guys' picks. Io Kimbrough is going with an Eric special, Montgomery, one of your favorite players as of late.
Love.
Ryan Stubbs has got Jake Bowers. We've got Sotex going with Aaron Judge. Alex NY is going with Giancarlo Stanton. I'm going to assume he's a Yankees fan with a name like Alex NY. Eugenio Suarez from Malukar. Go Fies is going with Yordan Alvarez. Yastrzemski from Jeff Williams. We've got Isaac Collins from Eric Traub. Suzuki from Hayes 2323. We've got Harrison Bader from Mr. Textray. We've got Ezekiel Tovar for 2 homers from Van Dam NYC. Ooh. Ken Ratty is going with Ian Happ. We've got Walter Horton going with Kyle Schwarber. Reese McGuire from Mario. Luis Matos from Aaron Hines. We've got Eugenio Suarez from Mike Swarek. We've got Dibdall going with Caglione. We've got Trent Grisham from Jason McKinney. We've got Dansby Swanson from Mr. Ace Razor. Ian Happ from Trip Deasy. We've got Zippy. I believe that's you. Picked to hit a grand slam tonight by Grabaka Mex.
Sure
We've
will.
got Funk going with Michael Garcia. Reg Kell has got Curtis Mead. OMG Lowell says, can't wait for the Thursday night football show tomorrow. Yep, don't forget. Tomorrow, we're going to have the strategy show in the morning. That is going to be Lofty and Spags doing the strategy show tomorrow. And then live before lock is going to be myself and Lofty for NFL tomorrow. EMAC has got Colby Thomas. Slim is going with Michael Harris. Note for Jason has got Jeremy Pena. NY Siegel is going with Jackson Charillo. And we've got Kyle Schwarber from Kenny Brayboy. And that is going to do it for us today, guys. So also, I think this is kind of funny here. I'm just going to read this off because we've got, first off, this name is, it cannot be longer. This is Roth Window Cleaning Services 3098 says, I'm not going to be giving away his plays, as if because Roth Window Cleaning Services says he thinks somebody's going to hit a home run 2 minutes before lock, everybody's going to scramble to go change their lineups, where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe Roth Window Cleaning Service picked Dansby Swanson to homer. That changes everything. Don't worry. People won't even listen to me. You don't have, sure. You could give out your home run picks and it's not going to be a big deal. Then finally, we got Zach Justice going with Brooks Baldwin. Guys, thank you all very much for watching the show. If you haven't done yet, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Good luck with all your lineups. Tomorrow, it is going to be NFL time. So we got all the football content coming out tomorrow. I also did an NFL strategy show using the single lineup sims with Lofty. So go watch that if you're looking for some more football content. Other than that, see you guys back here tomorrow. Have a good night.